you touched on cholesterol. I definitely want to talk about cholesterol.
Okay.
But before I get to that, my favorite mineral, in the world of nutrition, you get favorites, right? You probably have your favorites, and
Sure.
I know one of them that's one of my personal favorites, and I know is one of yours, is selenium. So tell us a little bit about selenium, this incredible, incredible mineral, and some of the things that you can use it for. And I want you to place special attention on how selenium is involved with the thyroid, how selenium is involved with diabetes, and all the different things that you can use with this incredible mineral that, by the way, is active in microgram quantities, the tiniest of quantities. Maybe touch on that a little bit.
Okay, as you say, selenium is one of those wonderful trace minerals, which is an essential nutrient. We need it. We can't live without it. And it has many functions. It's a structural mineral when it comes to chromosomes, right? Epigenetics, we'll get into that, right? But it's a structural piece in the actual normal double helix.
Is it one of the fingers that you were talking about?
It's one of the metallic fingers that keeps this double helix of the chromosome in the proper distance of each other. There's a little strut there. In the middle of these struts, there's all these different minerals, and selenium is one of them.
Wow. So the helix itself is an incredibly organized structure, and every little component of it is key. The distance that the nucleotides are from each other, all of that is tightly regulated, and minerals like selenium are involved in making sure that this structure stays intact. That's what the fingers are.
Exactly. And when you have a deficiency of selenium, many things happen. In the biochemical level, you can't recycle glutathione, which is one of the most potent antioxidants made by the body.
The most, maybe.
And it's used to protect you from cancer and fend off inflammation in your arteries so you don't get clogged arteries and that kind of stuff. But if you don't have enough selenium, you use one molecule of glutathione and it sort of deactivates. But when you have selenium, you can recycle that one molecule of glutathione 1,000 times.
That's awesome.
That's very awesome. And then it protects your brain from MS. When you have MS, you have a terrible, terrible selenium deficiency because it allows the free radical damage to the myelin, the white matter of the brain again, and you get these lesions in the brain about the size of a lima bean that cause MS.
So supplementing with selenium
can prevent or reverse MS.
Wow.
Along with the 90 essential nutrients. It can't not by itself.
That's right. So 200 micrograms to 400 micrograms?
Well, I like to be a little heavy-handed.
600?
I like to be a little heavy-handed.
800?
A milligram, yeah.
A milligram?
1,000 micrograms. Yeah. Okay. When you have these diseases, you need to use a bigger hammer, right?
Okay.
HIV. You can prevent HIV from mutating to AIDS by supplementing with selenium.
Wow.
1 milligram a day. What's the difference between Arthur Ashe, the great black tennis player, and Magic Johnson, the great black basketball player? One is dead, one's alive. Yeah. One's supplementing with selenium, one didn't.
That's what Magic Johnson's doing? Oh, that's interesting.
Now,
how about just a common cold or just like flus and that kind of thing?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. It's very good. You're on top of it.
All right.
But I also, it's one of the things they actually discovered, Dr. Gerhard Strauser, a grand man, he's the guy who discovered that selenium is an essential nutrient back in 1957.
They didn't consider it essential back then.
No, they considered it poison.
Yeah,
exactly. They thought it was a poison. Even medical doctors today still think it's a poison.
Yeah.
But it actually was discovered to be an essential nutrient. And the disease he was looking at was liver necrosis, the death of your liver. If you survived death of your liver, you got cirrhosis of the liver, right? And this is all caused by not drinking, because 99% of the people who get liver cirrhosis never took a drink of alcohol in their life.
Right.
It's a selenium deficiency.
Wow.
I get people off the liver transplant list all the time.
Wow. And that's a big problem today, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's a huge problem.
Fatty liver, primary sclerosing cholangitis, liver cirrhosis.
Yeah.
I've had people, pharmacists, who've had 32 liver operations at Harvard Medical School. Their livers are the size of an Oreo cookie, and I rebuild them in 2 months to a normal liver, just using the 90 essential nutrients and extra selenium.
Right.
Okay. And then there's cataracts are caused by selenium deficiency and free radical damage, eating fried foods, free radical damage to the lens of the eye, and no selenium to protect it. And then you get cardiomyopathy heart disease. I've done
Keyshawn syndrome.
Keyshawn syndrome,
That's right.
I've done 1,200 autopsies on kids under the age of 10 in Keyshawn province, China. 1,200 autopsies. Nobody else has ever done that.
They're all deficient.
They're all deficient in selenium. And partially because of our work there in China, every school kid, when you go to kindergarten, they get a multiple and a capsule of selenium. We've wiped out cardiomyopathy heart disease in children in China.
That's awesome.
Is that awesome?
That's awesome. Now, isn't there an animal correlate to this Keyshawn syndrome, selenium deficiency?
Yes.
Is sheep?
Well, in every animal you can name, there's a correlation. But in pigs, they call it mulberry heart disease. In sheep, they call it stiff lamb disease, because when they get heart disease, they kind of walk with arch back and they're kind of stiff. And in cattle, they call it white muscle disease because when you cut through the heart, instead of having this beautiful kind of reddish purple heart color, it looks like a good perch muscle. It's white, so they call it white muscle disease. And you can prevent it with
a little bit of selenium.
Well, with the 90 essential nutrients plus extra selenium. If they get it and they survive the first heart attack, or you catch it with just arrhythmias in their heart, you give them the selenium, it goes away.
How about for the thyroid?
The thyroid gland, of course, there's actually a syndrome called Wilson syndrome. The question is, how many nutrients does your thyroid require?
A lot, probably. No.
All 90.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask a physician, they'll say iodine,
right,
because it's part of the structure
right,
of the thyroxine hormone. But that's only the part of the structure. But for the thyroid gland to work, it needs all 90. Duh, right? And so a lot of times when they look at the T3, T4, the TSH, and all that kind of stuff, really what they're looking for is iodine levels. And so you can be perfect. They say, well, we don't know why you're having all these symptoms of thyroid disease because, yeah, we give them iodine and nothing changes. Well, that's because it's a selenium deficiency.
That's interesting. Well, selenium is involved in the hormone as well.
Well,
it's part of the structure as well, no?
It's part of the structure, but it actually is even equally importantly is part of the process of making the hormone, okay? And as is copper and everything else. And then, of course, it's necessary for the health of your muscles. Muscular dystrophy is caused. Muscular dystrophy is a selenium deficiency.
Wow.
Now, a fellow by the name of Marvin Rappenay, who grew up Amish, and he went in and became a Navy SEAL. Going from the Amish world to Navy SEAL, he comes back after 20 years in the SEALs. He goes back a worldly man now, and he sees all these kids dying of muscular dystrophy in the Amish community. And so I go there and I say, well, this is what we see in calves that have muscular dystrophy or white muscle disease. And it's a selenium deficiency. So we went to Purdue University, and sure enough, in Indiana, wherever these kids are that have muscular dystrophy, there's always a selenium deficiency in the soil. So we started giving them the 90 essential nutrients, giving them extra selenium, and the muscular dystrophy goes away in a couple of weeks. Even if they've been in wheelchairs for years, we get them out of the wheelchairs to go play basketball. So we send all this information to Jerry Lewis. This is a gospel true story now. We send all this information to Jerry Lewis. 5 years.
He must have loved it.
He went crazy, positive. He loves it.
Yeah.
I said, now, Jerry, we're not asking for money. We already know the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy in kids. We already know this. We just think it's appropriate that we offer to you the opportunity to make the news release because you're the guy.
Muscular dystrophy.
They're Jerry's kids,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you're the obvious guy to make the news release if you want to. If you say no, we'll be happy, but at least my conscience is okay because I've given you the opportunity. He gets excited. He takes it to the medical committee in the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation. They fire Jerry Lewis. That's why Jerry Lewis has not been on the telethon for the last 2 years.
Oh, that's an amazing story.
And they sent him on a cruise. They actually bought him a ticket to say, we have a non-disclosure contract with you, Jerry. You can lose everything. We'll sue you for everything if you bring this up. And so we're sending you on a cruise. Go enjoy yourself.
And don't bring it up again.
We want you away from here when we're having this telethon this year because everybody's going to say, well, where's Jerry?
For the last cruise.
It's over with.
That's a great story.
And so they fired Jerry Lewis because we discovered the cause, prevention, and cure of, and I knew what it was for a long time, but until Marvin Ropp came back from being a Navy SEAL and introduced me to the Amish community, I didn't have access to those kids.
So selenium for muscular dystrophy. But I think your point's well taken that you have to have the entire mighty 90. These things are specific for disease states, but the entire milieu of the body has to be nutriated.
That's right, because everything kind of works together.
Yeah.
And if you have to have the metabolism to be able to repair yourself. You have to have the metabolism to operate just in life. And so to think you can cherry pick one nutrient, this is one of the bad things the medical system does.
Allopathic nutrition, I call it.
Yes.
Where you just use a nutrient like it's one kind of drug, one kind of disease.
Exactly, using a nutrient as a drug.
Yeah.
Instead of using the whole. I liken it to Grandma's recipe for an angel food cake, for instance. And she dies and she leaves her secret recipe to her favorite granddaughter, right? But the granddaughter doesn't like some of the ingredients. She said, I really don't like eggs because of cholesterol theory, right?
It's not going to be the same cake.
And so you leave the eggs out, and all you get is a angel food crepe.
Yeah.
You don't get angel food cake.
Right. Because all the ingredients work together.
Exactly.
And the mighty 90 works together the same way.
Yeah.
All right. So there's so many things I want to talk about, but I don't think any conversation with Dr. Wallach would be complete without talking about colloidal minerals.
Okay.
Okay. And first of all, there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding. People don't really understand what exactly a colloidal mineral is, and I think it makes sense that there'd be misunderstandings. You know, Albert Einstein and some of the great physicists, they studied colloidal solutions, colloidal suspensions. They were so fascinated with how these things work and how they interact with the water and the electrical nature of all that. Why don't you tell folks, first of all, tell folks how you discovered the power of colloidal minerals and exactly what are colloidal minerals and why are they so special and so effective?
Okay, well, thank you, Pharmacist Ben. Back again in the late 80s, I was working with some of the alternative cancer hospitals in Mexico. They invited me to come do some things with them. And that's a long story how I got there, but that's another time. But at any rate, one of the problems I had was getting all the nutrients that people needed, because most people wouldn't eat calf pellets and dog food and things like that, right?
Right.
And so I had to find a way, because in human supplies, it was very difficult to get things. And so I needed a source of some really weird trace elements and rare earths, okay, like gallium,
right.
ytterbium, yttrium, neodymium, praseodymium.
Which the body needs.
You get disease if you don't
right.
have them. Most doctors, you ask them about those
ytterbium deficiencies.
Rare earth, europium.
Yeah,
you ask them about those things, doctors look at you like a deer in the headlight. They've never heard of them, right? And so I was looking for those things. Well, here at one of these alternative cancer hospitals is a little gallon glass jug, and it says, take an ounce of this with every meal. And I tasted, woo, it kind of shrunk wrap your lips over your teeth. It was very tart.
Right, minerals.
Yep. And so I said, what is this? He said, well, it's this stuff that comes out of the mountains and it has all these different minerals in it. So I took it to Dr. Schrauser, University of California. I said, analyze it. And it had 77 minerals in it, including all these really weird trace minerals and rare earths. Exactly what I was looking for. To make this, as what's turned out now, to be the Alex pack, right?
Right.
You got it?
Right.
But that was back in 1985. I had been looking for something, but it was so expensive.
It would have all the you were looking for something that would have all those trace minerals.
And the rare earths. And if we were to put it together one by one, it would cost $1,000 an hour to take that stuff, right? And so it's too expensive. So here's a natural source.
Wow.
And it had everything in there in optimal amounts. I mean, I really got excited because I said, now I've got the tool that I can bring this to the general public, right?
Wow.
Well, a colloid is actually a mineral that's in suspension rather than in solution.
So it doesn't dissolve, it hangs.
It hangs in there. Now, how does that do that? You've heard of Brownian movement,
Sure.
right? Well, all these particles are the same charge, and so they repel each other. And so they stay in suspension by their own energy because they're repelling each other like little magnets.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. So
And
this is a highly electrically charged solution.
That's right.
It's like a magnetic solution.
But they're all the same charge.
Right.
That's the secret. They're all the same charge.
Right.
They're
That's how they're repelling.
Yeah, that's right. Brownian movement, and they knew about that for a long time, but you're talking about one nutrient, one mineral, but here's one with 77 minerals in there.
Wow.
And there's this, it's almost like a liquid alloy of 77 minerals.
Wow.
And for instance, if you take a solution, a liter of a solution, you can maximize whatever you can get in there. You get 985 or 989 milligrams. That's all you can get into a solution. There's only so much room in between the water molecules. Now in the suspension, I can get 36,000 milligrams.
How do you do that?
Kidneys, right? I can get 36,000 milligrams. Well, when you taste that, that'll shred the enamel off your teeth. It's so acid. So I had to cut it down to 19,000 milligrams. But now we're getting up into the dosage rates, so you don't have to drink 7 gallons a day. I had to concentrate it down. I mean, all these little mechanical factors I had to deal with, I had to concentrate it enough to where a human being could take a couple ounces and get enough. Nobody's going to drink 7 gallons a day to get enough, right?
But these are highly concentrated suspensions.
Yes, but I had to concentrate them more.
Wow.
Right, see? And so this was perfect for me because I could get 19,000 milligrams in a liter, I could get 600 milligrams in an ounce.
That's amazing.
That's amazing, right?
That's amazing.
And so, but in a solution, I could only get 30 milligrams.
And so what accounts for that difference then?
Well, in a suspension, it doesn't matter how much room there is between the water molecules because these guys are in there keeping each other in suspension all the time. They never settle out.
They're self-suspending.
They're self-suspending. They never settle out.
Wow.
It's a perpetual motion machine.
So when you're actually drinking an electrical energy, you're drinking magnetism.
Of sorts, yeah.
So you're drinking a magnetic solution. So
Yes.
Would you say that the effect on the body is it amps up the magnetic energy of the body?
Well, if you look at the heart, for instance, which is an electrical thing,
Right.
when people start getting palpitations, they are having an electrical conduction problem. So you give them selenium in a colloidal form, problem solved.
Wow.
Okay, and so it's that simple. But at any rate, then I was able to make liquids. Of course, I think I'm considered the father of liquid supplementation at that level. And the initial product we had was just what we called plant minerals.
I remember that.
Yeah, 77 plant minerals, which contain all 60 essential minerals in optimal amounts, 1 ounce per 100 pounds of body weight. And most people are deficient in minerals, so just taking those minerals made an enormous positive difference in people's lives. And then people were saying, well, what multiple do I take with it? So I had to come up with a multiple. And then you think it's tricky to add all the vitamins and amino acids and things to it. Now I tried adding the fatty acid, it turned it into soap.
I'm sure.
It became a solid.
You can't add fatty acid, but it's a miracle that you could add all that other stuff in there. That's some amazing formulations. And let me tell you something. I formulate for a living, and the formulations that you guys, Youngevity's come up with some formulations that are absolutely stupendous, and it started off with that
bottle of minerals.
That bottle of minerals. That bottle of minerals.
So we just kept adding things to it, and of course we'd run into the thing like turning into soap, and we had bottles exploding and stuff. And so in the early days it was quite adventurous. And then of course right now we have in the Alex pack, which you can buy by itself or part of the Alex pack. I like the Alex because you got a complete thing. Is the Beyond Tangerine has 245 nutrients in it.
That's a stupendous product.
Isn't that wild?
Stupendous product.
It has 300 milligrams of these minerals per serving. It has
lots of B vitamins.
Well, mega doses.
Mega doses,
yeah.
right.
And then it has 115 super juices. We're not talking about a V8 here.
Right.
We're talking or a V115.
That's amazing.
V115.
Yeah, V115, not V8. Right?
Yeah, not V8.
Plus 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C,
Yeah.
plus copper, plus selenium.
Well, plus all 60 essential.
Plus is there glucosamine, I think, in
Yes,
there as
there
well?
is.
No, that's an amazing product. If people don't do anything but that, they're going to notice dramatic results.
Oh, huge. And of course, kids like it because it tastes good.
Tastes great. And then for absorption, that's another thing. You know, in pharmacy school, we study delivery. That's one of the main things we study is delivery. And they tell you, if you want to deliver things in the body, and you don't want to use a suppository, and you don't want to use an injection, drink the stuff. And that was actually, in addition to the colloidal minerals, the nature of the colloids, the fact that it was in a way you could drink it, and you would get instant absorption is so important because people have digestive problems. Everybody has digestive problems. Bypassing digestive problems with liquids. Go ahead.
Well, I'll answer that question in a second. But what we did was even, I thought, more fun. We'd take these colloids, which in themselves are very absorbable, right? And then
tremendously absorbable.
Very absorbable compared to even solutions. And so then we turn it into a coffee crystal type technology.
Now talk about that.
Well, coffee crystals are not actually like you're making an instant drink, okay, because what we did was turn it into a brewed thing that has all these juices and vitamins and minerals and amino acids in it. We made these huge solutions, and then we freeze-dried it, and they turned into crystals. You just add water, and suddenly now it
rehydrates.
It rehydrates, becomes the original suspension again.
Is that what makes the BTT so special? It's like freeze-dried.
Yes.
Do you remember that commercial they used to have for the freeze-dried coffee? That whole.
That's the coffee crystals.
Yeah, it's the same idea.
And so we take a colloid and we turn it into the coffee crystal technology.
So it becomes a colloid again.
It becomes a colloid again.
So the BTT it's a colloidal suspension.
It's a
not
colloid,
a solution.
and then we put it into resuspension.
But when people reconstitute it,
it becomes a suspension again.
It becomes a suspension again. So they're actually drinking this colloidal liquid again.
Exactly.
Even though it's portable and you can carry it around.
And light, you can take it on the plane with you.
You can take it on the plane. That's great. All right, so cholesterol.
Okay.
I want to talk about cholesterol. Statin drugs, hundreds of millions of prescriptions are filled for statin drugs every year. Everybody's terrified of cholesterol. Somebody here was asking about eating eggs, and people don't want to eat eggs. They don't want to eat the yolk in eggs. And there's so much misunderstandings about cholesterol. Please tell our listeners, tell the viewers a little bit about, first of all, what cholesterol is, why it's so important, and then how you can make sure that you have enough cholesterol in your body using dietary strategies.
Well, first of all, cholesterol is an important part of our human structure. Every cell wall is like 30% cholesterol.
Right.
Okay. Every cell wall, if the trillions and trillions of cells in your body, every one of them, 30% or more, in some cases 60% of the cell wall is cholesterol.
Nerves. So you can't make cells without the stuff.
That's right. And cells won't work without it. They die without it. And then 75% of your brain weight, the white matter of your brain, the myelin, is cholesterol. Okay? If you don't have enough cholesterol, Guess what you get? Alzheimer's disease. It's a physician-caused disease for lowering our cholesterol. Then you can't make sex hormones. Testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and adrenal hormones are all steroid hormones. 95% by weight is cholesterol. Vitamin D3 is
cholesterol.
7-hydroxy-25 cholesterol, right?
Right. It's cortisol, stress hormone.
Exactly. So
aldosterone,
adrenal hormones, all these things are cholesterol. So you don't have enough cholesterol, you get erectile dysfunction, you get menopause, you get adrenal exhaustion, you get Alzheimer's disease.
All of it.
All of it.
How can this beautiful chemical, this beautiful molecule be so demonized in our culture? It's amazing to me.
Well, here's why. Because again, biologists don't know anything about chemistry, right? Doctors don't know anything about nutrition.
Right.
So that's a maxim. Well, in 1971, after having done 20,000 autopsies, I wrote a paper which compared the plugged arteries in vegans versus plugged arteries in meat eaters. Looking at this cholesterol theory, right?
So the vegans are eating grains?
Well, grains, vegetables, fruits, and nuts. And guess who had the worst clogged arteries?
Vegans. Right.
Because of
There's
the
no
oils.
cholesterol in meat.
Well, there was a little bit of cholesterol in the scarring of the arteries, and that's why in their brains they thought it was a cholesterol. But there was turbulence in there, and the body's putting cholesterol in there trying to smooth it out. You know, like these nonstick pans. The body's response was to throw cholesterol at it, trying to smooth out the turbulence.
Now, when people eat meat, is there cholesterol in steak? Is there actually cholesterol molecule, even after it's cooked and after it's processed?
As long as you don't burn it. Okay, now, but here's the beauty of that study. 1971, 20,000 autopsies, they come out, and this is published in an international Danish pathology journal, Acta Pathologica, translated into 6 languages. This went around. Millions of doctors, millions of pathologists all over the world read this. Now, they all laughed at me because they were saying, well, Wallach must be sniffing glue because cholesterol causes heart disease. Well, guess what? Where were vegans getting their cholesterol? They're not eating meat. They're not eating eggs.
They're making it.
The oils in the grains are oxidizing because they were stored improperly.
So now...
And then they stir fry in extra, extra, extra virgin olive oil. You turn those oils into trans fatty acids and heterocyclic amines, right?
Right.
By heating them. They eat a lot of salad dressings.
So where's the cholesterol coming from?
From the body makes a little bit as a sort of, again, a
protective device?
Protective device, kind of like this nonstick pan again, right? Okay, but it came from your own body making it.
So it's upregulating the body's manufacturing system of cholesterol.
Yeah, but it's infinitesimally small. It wasn't even a factor. But they picked, that's the only strange thing that was in there, right? And so they picked that out for some reason. And they came up with these statin drugs to lower cholesterol. Well, here comes now, 41 years later, the FDA in Science News just a couple of weeks ago came out and said, Houston, we have a problem. They put out new warnings on statin drugs saying
diabetes.
Increases your risk of diabetes by 50%, increases your risk of Alzheimer's disease by 100%.
Alex Jones here with a message that could revolutionize health in this country. Going back about a year and a half ago, I began to learn about the incredible health effects of longevity products. Aaron Dykes lost 92 pounds. We're going to show you some before and afters. Aaron, break down what happened, your story.
I've worked really hard with diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but I just didn't get the results. It just didn't happen. Then I saw what you were doing with InfoWarsTeam.com. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but I got it because I wanted to feel better energy. I wanted that nutrition. Didn't even understand how that could kickstart my own weight loss goals, but the products did that for me. I found myself suddenly losing weight, more energetic, wanting to exercise, wanting to eat the right foods.
And they don't even advertise it as weight loss. I want to challenge our radio listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com. Sign up as a distributor and get wholesale pricing discounts at InfoWarsTeam.com.